Action!
Disgust me. Grow up.
Oh, yeah.
How you doing, everybody? Welcome to a special collaboration. Tonight we have, well, it's no we have or Sean have. Sean here is from the Review It Yourself podcast. Chris, who's usually with me, is running late because he's a bus wanker. He's not learning to drive. He's a lazy bastard. Sean, how are you, mate?
I'm good. Can't complain. It's been a long day, but I've been looking forward to this all day. I think I'll surprise people with my opinion of this film. So I'm looking forward to getting into it.
Not as much as I'm going to, I'll tell you. But I'll give a wee shout out to the guys over at Chat Tsunami podcast who did a full 4 weeks of Terminator from start to finish. They covered all the films, the games, and the TV series as well.
Oh, I'll have to catch up on that. I've got a shout out to them as well because I absolutely love it. I'm not pandering to the Scottish, I swear to God. I am recording an episode with him as of when we record. It's tomorrow. No, it's not. Later in the week. We are reviewing Still Game, the 1999 live stage show. So I love that. My dad discovered that years ago, got it from somebody at work. He worked with a lot of Scottish people. There's a lot of Scottish down here in the Northeast. It's not too far away. And he got the DVDs. But before it came back, because when it came back, everyone was jumping all over it. And I was like, I've known about this for years. Down here, I mean. So, yeah, those guys are great.
And it's not so bad for where you're titles like the people more south. I don't understand that, Scottish person. How very dare you?
That's not bad, to be fair.
But we're all right, mate. We're kind of northeast, England is just like Scottish people with their heads kicked in, so it's all right. Don't worry. We're cool.
Yeah.
So, as I was saying, Chat Tsunami and Adam, I think it is for Chat Tsunami, covered this, mate. They've done it brilliant, very methodical, very in depth. For the most part, I agreed with a lot of what they said, and they were coming up to they done one episode, it was Salvation and Genisys together, and they were kind of like regretting it in the lead up to it, and I thought, I'm not going to like this at all, but Genisys, Terminator Genisys, mate, I'm going to die in this hill, because for me, it's 10 times better than Terminator 3. It's one of my favourite franchise. I love it. I don't understand why people can't see.
Yeah, see, I genuinely like it as well. I knew people would think I was just going to jump in and dogpile it, but no, I genuinely like this one. I think Dark Fate was. I watched it recently. Oh my good God! It's not unwatchable, but it's pretty bloody close. I think Salvation, if anything, it's actually gotten better, because I think sometimes when films come out, there's an expectation upon them. You know, there's expectation, and when you go back, you watch them and go, actually, this isn't too bad. I reviewed Terminator 3 with Carlo from the Movie Loot podcast from Puerto Rico, and we did that, and we both, when I rewatched it recently, I thought, this isn't Terminator 3. I thought, this is really, it's like age like wine. I know that's generally how I felt. So I think this series is a great one to do for anybody, because it's just there's so many different bits. Can't wait to get into it. I really can't.
No, definitely, mate. As I was saying, guys, Chris is running late. Hopefully, we'll pop in sooner rather than later. Genisys, you're talking there, mate. You've made a good point there about saying there's a height of expectation for certain films that by the time it comes out, people are left maybe deflated, expecting more. Expectation kind of goes above realization. So when they don't get what they expect, they're disappointed and they don't see the film for what it is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't want to sound like an art critic or anything like that, but
no, I agree
there's
completely.
Another side to that coin, mate. There's some people, see if you hear that a film's garbage long enough, by the time you go to see it, you've made your mind up that it's not going to be very good. I think that's got a lot to do with this one.
Yeah, I think so. I don't get that either. But I think the thing with expectation, it's a funny one because you can, and I can only be honest. I mean, I'm not popular enough to have hot takes, but I just say what I think. I'm like brutally honest. It's like Jurassic Park, the first one. I watched that back recently, and I've thought, God, this is a bit boring. Actually, you don't see a dinosaur apart from the little bit at the beginning where it's in a cage for about an hour and 15 minutes. And it's like, God, get on with it. And it's the world building. Like, yeah, but I actually prefer the Lost World, which a lot of people have gone like spat the tea out and gone, what? But I genuinely enjoyed the second one. But I think it's better paced. I think it's genuinely a better film.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm one of these people. I have very odd opinions about films, but you can only take it for what you get out of it. So
they're only odd in other people's eyes, but your opinion's your opinion. Nobody can tell you it's wrong. They can tell you they don't agree with it, but they can't tell you it's wrong because it's your opinion. Just like people that say this film's garbage, I'll be like, fair enough, that's your opinion. I don't think so. I wouldn't say you're wrong. You're wrong.
Yeah. No, just say you're wrong. It's fine. No, I tell you what. Speaking of expectation, particularly, I don't think Genisys suffered as much, but I think Genisys suffered from like a cumulative effect of, oh God, we've had a few too many, a bit of fatigue of the franchise, potentially too many in too short space. I think Salvation, if anything, people forget that came out in 2009.
Aye.
Christian Bale was at the height of his powers. It was like a year after, it was a year after The Dark Knight, and that was as good as everyone says it is. And, it was amazing. And it came out, Terminator Salvation came out, and I think the expectations of people, not so much about the quality of the film, but what the film would be like. Because the trailer for Terminator Salvation is still one of the best trailers I've ever seen. I think it had, is it Nine Inch Nails was the day the world went away, and it had all these really great, that trailer's unbelievable. And you thought, oh, this is good. It was already dark, and it looked like the future war that everybody, the Judgment Day that everybody remembered. And then when it came out, it was more Mad Max in terms of how it looked. It was very bleak. It was very saturated. Most of the action was in the daytime. There was rifles instead of plasma rifles. So I think it wasn't what people expected. So instead of kind of watching the film and taking it for what it was, because if anything, they kind of, I'll finish my point first. I'm terrible for that. I think instead of taking it for what it was, they were like, I don't like it. It's not what I expected. This isn't the war. This isn't what James Cameron invented. But I think, if anything, Salvation, arguably of the sequels past Terminator 2, it's probably one of the better ones because it went for something different. It kind of really went for something. It was all set in the future for the most part. And it really it was its own thing. It followed characters. Personally, I think that film would have been better. I'll get into this when I review it sooner rather than later. I think it would have been better if you took John Connor out of the film entirely. Take him out of that entirely. Oh, take him out entirely. Totally. And just follow Marcus Wright and Kyle Reese and just take John Connor out of it, because I think Christian Bale's performance is a little bit over the top, but we're not here to talk about that one anyway. But
just to follow up on what you said, you're absolutely right. I enjoyed Salvation because I didn't think too much about it. But when you think about it, there is 100 things in there that have no need to be in there. One of them is John Connor, and is it Catherine, his wife, Catherine?
Oh, Catherine Brewster, yeah.
But I think they just, as you say, maybe just wrote a point. The Christian Bale's hot property, we'll get him in, give him a couple of £1,000,000 and get his face on, but it was pointless.
Yeah, well, the best, sorry.
No, you're all right, mate, you're right. I just had to follow up on that. But Genisys, for me, you made a good point there earlier about the word pacing. And I think this film is one of the strong points in this film is the pacing, because there's no dead space in it. No. There's nothing, there's no scenes or acts you think could have done without that. It's just start to finish. It's a good story. You can follow it, and there's just enough action in it, and CGI is fucking on point. I watched it again today. I looked for flaws, and no, there's no flaws for me.
Yeah, it is very high-end CGI. I mean, I know everyone talks about, it's behind your head about that scene, and we'll get into that. It's cracking. And the scene before that when he appears. I think, if anything, the CGI, and this may be quite a strange choice, but I think one of the most impressive moments is when they're at the mountain just before they steal the school bus, and John Connor walks out on fire, and then he like morphs from being I can't remember what model he is. I don't think he's got a model number, has he? He walks out and then he's just him, isn't he? And he appears, and then it's like he changes and nothing, and it ends up as Jason Clarke, obviously. Great actor, I love him. I think another problem. Well, I'll get into it now. Why wait? Another problem is advertising with this film. They ruined the spoiler that John Connor was like evil, and it was just, what did you do that for? If they'd have the only thing I'd argue, but the only thing I'd like to have seen in this film would be potentially if John Connor turns up, because he's a new model. Well, would it work? I don't know if that'd have worked. Maybe Pops ends up somewhere stranded away from them for a little bit. Give Arnie a bit of a break. He's getting older. John Connor ends up with them, infiltrates them. They think he's on their side. He gives them a good story about where he's been. And then it's revealed, like Pop comes back and he's like, hang on a minute, you're not human. And that would have been really, and they hadn't revealed it in the trailers. Because in this film, he turns up and he doesn't even kind of pretend to be on their side. I mean, he undoes the handcuffs. But then they're like, oh, well, where have you been? And it's like, oh, doesn't he call him dad or something? It's a bit like...
that was purposefully done. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're right, mate. It doesn't... It kids on his John Connor, obviously, and he dodges the question, how did you get here? I've got a million questions for you, but we'll get to that. We just need to get out of here. When they get to the car park, you're right in what you say, by the way. The advertising and the trailer spoiled what could have been a great reveal, but the world we live in just now, it's nigh on impossible. I mean, by the time you get to see a film in the movie theatres, you've seen the best bits in the trailer, really. Yeah. Which I'm glad to say didn't happen in Black Adam, but that's another review.
Oh, yeah. That happened. Same with me with the new Jordan Peele one. Nope, yeah. I turned up at that. I was the only one in the entire cinema showing, because I think it was, I don't know if I got out of work early. And I'd seen nothing about it, didn't have a clue what it was about. And it wasn't too bad, a bit weird, but one of those ones you can't really work out, but it was all right.
Typical Jordan Peele. Suspense. Let them. You know what I mean? But so this movie, mate, again, it just starts. We've got Kyle narrating and all that, and we're taking into the future, and we get to see a bit of the destruction. We get to see the bombs going off. We get to see, do you know what I mean? Machines going about with their fucking lasers. We get to see the camps. I think that's excellent. It's the most we've seen all together in one act.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
all the films put together.
Yeah, it is, because I mean, I bought. I'm not sure why. I think I like the cover. I think it's a hologram cover. I got the Blu-ray of it. I've actually now got the Blu-ray of Salvation of there, 25p from a charity shop, and it's a director's cut as well. Didn't even know they did a director's cut of Salvation. Can't wait for it. So anyway, so Genisys. I watched it and I thought I loved the opening. I think the music, it was Lorne Balfe with Hans Zimmer as an executive producer. You kind of feel his element in there. And I love the opening. It starts very Terminator 2-esque, but not a complete rip-off. I really enjoyed the opening of it. I've enjoyed the openings of all the Terminator films. I love the opening of Dark Fate, until that bit. I love the bit with the sand washing and the skull appears. That was brilliant. The rest of the film after that, it was downhill. But no, I love the opening of this. I think it's, you see what happens and they have that slow-mo of all the missiles going over, and there's the kid on the plane looks out, and there's the guy at the barbecue, and it's very much it's quite melancholy an opening. It's like I remember a world, green, lush, and verdant, and all that, and it was like, this is like, this is what it was all about. So it feels quite different, and I like the character of Carl Reese in this. I think he's quite realistic. Jai Courtney.
I was just going to ask you, do you like Jai Courtney?
Do you know what? He got himself back in my good books, because the first proper thing I remember watching him in was A Good Day to Die Hard, and I thought, you can't act. But to be fair, the film, there was nothing for him to work with, to be fair.
That was his kind of debut to
Oh,
Hollywood, but when it
awful one. But no, yeah, not bad. He's been in a few other things, and he's not been too bad. So I thought, I don't mind him. I think he does an all right job with this. To be fair, I mean, with what he's given, because it's different for him. He turns up, and Sarah Connor isn't the Sarah Connor that we expected, and because she's not because I was thinking about this because I was watching the film, that scene where they argue before they're about to go back to the future, to the future, back to the future. She comes across a little bit whiny, and a little bit petulant. And I was thinking, because I know a lot of people talked about reaction. A lot of people have said about Sarah Connor and about Emilia Clarke that, oh well, it's not Sarah Connor. She was miscast. And I think no, she would have been miscast if she was supposed to be the Sarah Connor, but she's not. She didn't go in the Pescadero mental hospital. She didn't have all those years of trying to blow up Skynet. She's been with a Terminator since she was 8 years old or whatever. I love that story and that scene. I love when he carries her off. This
is what a lot of people poo-poo this film for before it's even got off the ground. Yeah. It's no Linda Hamilton. Well, fucking deal with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, she came back for Dark Fate, and that was shocking. So that don't matter.
Exactly. I mean, Emilia Clarke as well. You've got one of the biggest actresses at the time to play that role.
Yeah.
I thought she played it. I've said to people, I think the casting in this, everybody done their job brilliant. I thought it was great. It wasn't too over exuberant with characters. I mean, even J.K. Simmons in it for the short time he's on screen. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Do you know
he's
what I mean?
Always guaranteed. He's easy money, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? He's great.
Just that line says, look, you need to give me something here. We're here to save the world. I can work with that.
Yeah. It's great. I just love, it's quite a decent script. I think that gets overlooked as well. It's just like, what did they say to him? Or who called RoboCop and stuff like that. And there's a few bits where I thought, this is pretty slick, this film, to be fair.
The cash back to Terminator 1 is all on point. You know what I mean? The garbage truck, the tramp, the guys at the point, like fucking no washing day and all that kind of stuff. Excellent. Obviously, Bill Pullman's no heroes anymore.
Oh, I know, but the only thing why, and I know it's meant to be an alternative reality, so I can kind of let them get away with it, but they went to all that trouble to CGI Arnie. He redubbed his lines because it's a different production company, they couldn't get the footage. They'd go through all that, spend all those millions, and I've watched the behind the scenes on the Blu-ray, and it's amazing what they did. I think they literally handed it in the day before it needed to be. But why couldn't they paint the car tires over his face? Like, they look perfect, the punks. It's the only, I think, and I know it's like you spent all these millions. Why didn't you buy like £10 black face paint from Home Bargains and put it on his face? I don't know, I know it's a really, considering I'm really kind of gushy about the film in a lot of ways, it's a really minor point. But when you're like, it niggles me a little bit. I'm like, why couldn't you have? I get it's meant to be alternative reality, so. But no, I really enjoyed that part. I mean, at the beginning, it was really interesting to see Skynet fall as well. Where all the soldiers just kind of stop and all the HKs fall out of the sky and explode, because there's a decent bit of practical in there.
Exactly, which was a ruse by Skynet. You know what I mean? Yeah. To get them into the time chamber so that Skynet could get a hold of John and do what he did. But that's what I mean. The opening act.
Yeah.
For the minute it starts, Jai Courtney doing narration to the point it goes back to 1984. The pacing in that is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
It's, my name's John. I'm in the future. I was saved by John. Now I work with John. Now I've stopped Skynet. Now I'm going back to 1984. Boom. You know where you are. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's another thing about, sorry, but a lot of this, for anybody listening, and apologies to you, mate, a lot of this is going to be about the criticism levels of the film, but I think it needs to be addressed. I think you probably agree. A lot of the criticisms I see against the film are, it's just a mashed up retread of 1 and 2, and I'm like, well, it's not. It's trying to be its own different thing, and it kind of jumps forward past when the war was meant to be. The war's been delayed, and obviously because of what happened, Terminator 2 and Terminator 3 didn't happen. And Salvation. So it's an interesting look at it, but I don't think it got
the credit it deserved.
No,
because that whole idea is fantastic.
Yeah.
Look, you've changed Judgment Day again. So the plan's changed. It's changing in real time. And even while he's going from the future back to 1984, he's getting uploaded new memories. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's got all that to deal with. But that's it has you kind of a wee bit, oh, what's going on first time you see it. But when you know what's happening, it's a great idea, and I thought it was well told, man.
Yeah, it was, and I loved the certain scenes. Like I loved seeing the two T800s fight, the two Arnie's fight, the crack the pit, the cement, the pavement, the sidewalk. I just thought you got to throw it in for him. I thought the performance of Lee Byung-hun, sorry if I got his name masking it there, but as the T1000, I thought he was great. I think the T1000 for all the Terminator films that we've had, it's been so underutilized. Maybe it's because of how good Robert Patrick was, but I think the T1000 is probably one of the best villains in film history ever. I think it's just such a good villain, and I love, especially when you watch a lot of his performance. It's very almost ballet in a lot of ways. It's very it's very choreographed and it's very kind of dancey, especially the bit where he's getting hit with the acid. It's very impressive, and it's nice to see somebody with like a massive machine gun, like that bit where Kyle Reese is like on the floor and he's just firing this like machine gun at his face, and at its face, and the T1000 just turns and looks at him like as if he's like some annoying fly that I'll deal with you in a minute.
It is but a scratch, sir.
Yeah. And I like the fact that Kyle Reese, when he arrives, because the cop turns out to be, I like they kind of play against your expectations. The cop, what day is it, what year, turns out to be the T1000 and knows he's coming. And I liked the fact that they have a few bits in this where Kyle Reese is completely lost because of how quickly the film moves on. It doesn't really dwell on it, which I think is a bit of a shame. But there's a few bits where it's like, oh, I don't know the model. And like when at the beginning, when John Connor says, before he comes back, says something to him like, oh, she's a waitress. And he goes, she's a what?
Exactly, and I thought, know what a waitress is.
Yeah, I thought, well, you won't know what those are.
But by the time he's introduced to Sarah, obviously she comes. That's a great scene as well. She comes in with the armored car, takes out the T1000 for 5 minutes, and then come to me if you want to live. You can just imagine everybody in the movie theater going, "Yeah, she said the thing. She said the thing." And then at that, he's like, "Who are you? You're not a waitress. You're not needing my help. What the hell is going on here?" You know what I mean?
And then there's who's the skin job? Then there's obviously Pops there, who if you've grown up all your life being hunted by these things, the last thing you're going to do is trust one. And it's just a fascinating bit of dynamic between the three of them. I just tell you what I loved about the T1000 as well, especially the mall sit there, like the shopping bit. When he gets his Nikes and everything, which was a condition of Jai Courtney doing the film, which to be fair, I've got to give him credit for. They should all come and do this film, and he went, I'll do it if I get the Nikes. Or the Nikes. The Nikes is what the Americans are Nikes for us. Oh God, it's bleeding in. And I thought it was good. I love seeing the Terminator, the T1000. I love seeing characters shoot and then they just drop the guns as if that's no use to me anymore. I just little details like that. I genuinely really enjoy. I'm easily pleased. I think sometimes.
That's what I mean. The film isn't a bore. It's not unengaging. It keeps you interested. It keeps you following the story. Then there's action, and there's obviously bits of humour in there as well. She's obviously been teaching Pops since 1973, I think she said, trying to make him more human with the smiles and the chat back and stuff like that, which is funny. I don't care what anybody says it is. It's funny. Do you know what I mean?
It's juxtaposed really beautifully, contrasted with the fact that he's become more human on his own. Because I'd guess he's probably had done what happened to Terminator 2, where they've probably rethingied the chip. Although I think they took that out, didn't they?
Well, they said in Terminator 2 is a learning computer.
Yeah.
So the fact that
Sorry. I was just thinking when they send them out in Terminator 3, they say, or is it Terminator 2? When they send them out to do a mission, they change the system to read only, so they can't learn too much and they can't think too much. Because in Terminator 2, I think it's like an extended cut where where they reprogram his chip. Amazing scene. My idea is that they've probably done that in this film. In like this timeline, she's probably done that because it's funny that she's tried to make him more human and act more human, but actually he's become more human on his own. And we see that by the end. And I love, like, when a film has a line in it, Like, I'll give it credit for this, if nothing else. The whole a straight line, you just go and you don't look back. I love that. I think that's such a good line, to the point where if someone said to me, "Oh, have you got a line from a film that you all like you think about every now and again?" Yeah, that one.
It's the key. It's the key line.
Yeah.
And it ties everything in at that time, in that act, in that scene. Do you know what I mean? And it's used 3 times, and it means something. Do you know what I mean? Majorly.
Well, yeah. Well, it's the last words Dad ever said to her after presumably her mum had been killed, and she was almost killed, and the dad, said
Big
to her,
Bear, which was the cabin in Terminator 1, where he was sitting kidding on, he was Sarah's mum, talking to her on the phone. Big Bear cabin.
I didn't realise that. I didn't realise that one. There's a few nod backs. I think at the beginning where the guy turns and looks and he's with a camper. I'm sure that's where they did Terminator 3. Where they stop and steal that camper. There's a lot, and I'm sure they show like little bits of, I think, was it Crystal Peak or something? They show little bits. It's got a lot of callbacks, but that one passed me by completely.
Even the way the T-1000, when he walks into the warehouse and just drops the nanobots into the T-800's eye, that's a hark back to T3, isn't it? Because that was her speciality, was reprogramming, you know what I mean? Electrical things.
See, I love that idea as well. Oh, I've already waxed on about that film as well. But yeah, I think when you get older and you, maybe, I don't know, maybe not. But I think for me, I'm getting older, and I think I'm watching films again. Because at the time, you do like, oh, it's rubbish. Like, Terminator 3 came out, what was I, 11? So, yeah. So it's a bit, you think differently about a film then, and then when you rewatch it, and I think sometimes it's worth just like putting aside how you think, what you think your opinion is, and actually go back and think, right, can I go back and give this a chance, watch it with fresh eyes when you're having a good day, you're not knackered from work or anything. I mean, sometimes it doesn't work. You rewatch Spectre and you go, no, it's still as rubbish as I remember.
The first time.
Yeah. But sometimes you go, oh, actually, I don't know, I must have been in a bad mood when I watched this, because it's generally all right.
Mate, you're right. It happens to me. Listen, I watched The Godfather for the first time.
Sure, I've never seen those. Still never seen them.
And I thought, what's the hype about? But I then realised after watching it again that you're right, my headspace wasn't right when I watched it the first time. I probably looking at my phone every 2 seconds, you know what I mean? But I sat and I watched it, and it's a great film, it really is. But there is a lot of films like that since I've got older. I've went back and watched them, give them a second chance. 9 times out of 10, I've been like, that was a good film. Do you know what I mean? But there's other ones like you. I think Spectre took me about 5 goes, man, to complete.
Yeah.
I just couldn't sit and watch it. What's going on? After Skyfall, because I love Skyfall.
Oh,
what's going on here, man?
I can't do Skyfall. I'm sorry. I don't like
this. Skyfall, mate. It's brilliant.
I don't like the story, mate. I just don't like the story. I don't like the story, and I don't think I've reviewed it yet. I can't get away with it, or ever. I don't know. Maybe I did it on my own. I can't get away with it, and it's one of these films I've watched it back at least once a year since it came out. Well, thereabouts, maybe every 18 months, to try and see what I missed. Because when I first saw Casino Royale, when I was a teenager, I didn't like that at all, and I just didn't get it. Didn't like it. It wasn't the Bond I knew. This isn't obviously Die Another Day, but this isn't like the Bond I know. Where's the gadgets? Where's the cars? Where's the women? Well, this is about him falling in love. Don't believe
That's
it.
What makes Skyfall good.
Well,
because he's not got the exploding pen. He's basically alcohol and drug dependent, and he's got to listen. Do you know what to do, mate? Listen to our last review.
I will.
It was on Skyfall, and you'll enjoy it. It's a laugh, and there's some bits in there as well, man. But we're not talking about that anymore. Like,
sorry. I'm sorry. This is terrible for this, honestly.
I do it as well, mate. So she finally, we just move on a wee bit. She finally trusts him into the fact that, listen, I'm getting new memories here. Judgment Day's changed. You've got to trust me. Amazing that they've built a fucking time machine in 1984. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and I loved, and this is another thing I don't think the film gets credit for. The fact that when they go to 2017, which at the time was like modern day, they say, oh, they've let, it's a Trojan horse, Skynet's coming through. Look at all this technology, and I liked. Obviously,
Cameron couldn't predict it. Yeah, that's true.
Oh yeah, God love us now, but but like how far have we let technology? I mean, we're not going to get into that, but because Christ will be well, I don't want to think about it too much. But how much have we let technology into our lives, and you know what I mean? So, and you think, right, what would be, and then the last few years with what's happened in the world, we've become even more dependent on bloody Teams meetings. We've become even more dependent on it. So it's just a very, I mean, to be fair, it's very much an action film. But I think if it had tried to slow itself down and look at these things, I don't know. You could have done it that way, but it'd been a very different film.
No,
And
it does have its messages in there. You're right, but they're fleeting.
Yeah,
They're no wax lyrical about. John leads the two of them away for the hospital, and just says, "So, as you say, Skynet's a Trojan horse," and he goes, "Yeah, look at them." And it looks about the hospital, doctors, patients, visitors. They're all glued to a phone or a tablet, and John's words are, "They just can't live without it."
Yeah,
and that's it. That's all I had to say, and then we move on.
Mind you, if I was at the doctors, you swear on yours, don't you?
Aye.
If I was at the doctors, right? If I was at the doctors, and he's putting some staples in my back, right? And he's on his fucking phone. I'm like, mate, do you want to fucking turn that off and pay attention to what you're doing? Like, I get it's a movie and I get it's a scene, but I'm like, mate, do you want to put that down?
That's there's time and a place.
You know,
I think I would be pissed off. I know if somebody's fucking putting staples in me and looking at their phone.
Most unrealistic part of the film, the doctor's like, "Yeah, my phone connects to my ear." Why? I don't. I mean, I'm like, really, you doctor? Like, I've watched Scrubs, and don't buy you as a doctor. I love Scrubs. I know we'll get
5 times I've watched it. Love it. It's my go-to, man. It's my go-to.
I don't. I just.
You're right. That scene was a bit.
Well,
they're prisoners. You shouldn't even be talking to them. Telling them about your.
Why are they in the same room anyway? Well, I love that. Speaking of callbacks, I love that because we got that in the second one, didn't we? Where Arnie turns up and he's got the gun in the box of roses. I don't quite get it. Whatever.
Guns and Roses. You Could Be Mine. That was a title track for the movie as well.
Oh, okay. See, I'm making myself look a damn fool. I've never imagined Jesus H. I'm just very obviously didn't realize that. But there's that, and I love in this film that he walks in with a massive bear, and then just like he just throws it, and it's like, I thought that's spot on because who's going to stop you? To be fair, there's certain things you wear if you walk into a hospital, they're not going to stop you. My dad's mate, when my dad got his knee done, pre the last few years, he was outside the visiting hours, so he wore a long black coat, a black shirt, black trousers, and put a little bit of white card right there of his collar, and walked in dressed as a vicar, and got all the way to my dad's room. Because who's going to stop a priest? I swear to God, if that wasn't my dad, I wouldn't believe the story. I love that story, and I know the guy, I know the bloke, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds like him. I said, what would happen if someone had the last rites? Oh well, I just do it. Like, oh my God, you can't say that.
As long as I wasn't walking into pediatrics, they would have get stopped. No.
No. It's a very, very secure part of the hospital. No, my dad was known in pediatrics. No, he wasn't.
No, the priest I'm talking about.
Right. Oh, God, no. He's not an actual priest.
I know. That's a joke. That's the only way a priest would get stopped. Anyway, that joke's filled these fears.
I'm very serious when I talk about films.
There's a good segue as well, which again they don't over-analyse, and it's when John turns up at Cyberdyne and he talks to Miles Dyson, and he's been there for the last 3-4 years.
Yeah,
that's just enough information for you as the movie to go, right, this is what's been happening. He's been in there to safeguard the construction of the time machine and all that kind of stuff. I thought that was really good as well, and well done.
It was. Mind you, if you start thinking about the logic too much, you fall on your ass. But it's the whole bit about he's written lines according to we never knew existed, and I'm kind of like, well, isn't that
red flag?
Yeah, I mean, well, no, probably not with these people who make these kind of programs. But I think it's one of those, isn't it? It's like, and to quote Jurassic Park, even though I put the boot into it earlier, you were so preoccupied with whether you could, you didn't stop to think whether you should. That's that whole thing, isn't it?
Good line, that, man.
Yeah, it's a cracker, isn't it? Yeah, that is one big pile of shit. No, it's one of those things, isn't it? It's what can you do?
Exactly. But I know in the hospital and all that. We're in 2017, we just got into there. Pops is a right good fight with John, didn't he? Through walls, even the way John gets the gas canister and stuff.
The only thing though, right, I'm sorry, but it's the most blatant advert for Pepsi Max you've ever seen in your life. It's like, I don't mind, but he's like slamming him onto the, mind you though, I've got to say this, and I said it earlier, I'm a sucker for a good Terminator fight. Because people go, oh, it's ridiculous to grab each other and throw people. I'm like, yeah, but that's what I want. Like, there's nothing better. Like, even in like Terminator 3, all the Terminator films, was the one in the last one? I'm trying to erase that from my memory. But, you know, they're really like, I just love where they just grab each other, and it's like an immovable object, you know, I've forgotten the other one. It's like that. And you think, yeah, this is what, it's like two bulls going at it, but they can't be beaten. So it's like, how are they going to disable the other? And the only difference we've had is Terminator 3, where she can kind of infect them. But yeah, I'm a sucker for that kind of thing. It is a good fight.
It's a good fight, and then the magnet gets turned on with is that a new MRI machine or something like that? That's fucking really good. Especially when John gets stuck to it and he's trying to move away, and there's remnants of the nanobots just causing a shadow effect. And I thought the CGI was fucking on point there again, man.
It was, and also and I'm not a lover of CGI. I've done a side series about how much I'm not, but I'll say this for it. It's very unique looking in the Terminator. There's mind you, forgetting the last one, it's very unique looking for the rest of the Terminators. I don't count the last one because it was Rev and it wasn't Skynet and it wasn't Terminator, whatever. The newer one, this one, you know, where he's like trying to move forward, and because he's kind of like nanobody, isn't he?
Aye.
Well, he is, isn't he? So that's the whole thing about, and it's kind of very particle looking. Which, to be fair,
he's no one machine. He's one of a billion made up nanobots. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it shows because they're still getting drawn towards a magnet. But even when, as you say, he's out with John form and he's in the Terminator form, and it's the physique and it's black and it's all pristine looking. It's fucking excellent. Really well done, man.
And I like that scene where he's trying to. I know I always jump backwards, but going back a little bit to where he's trying to convince. I mean, his heart's not in it. I don't really get what he's trying to convince them to do, but whatever.
Aye, it's as if he wants them to say no.
Yeah, I think so. It's the whole bit because he's gone insane. They make that point earlier, don't they? That all the subjects went insane and died. But he's trying to say, oh, you know, come on, Kyle, like we could fight again, and he morphs into having his old kind of combat gear on, and his scar appears, and then I don't know if it's this bit or a bit later on where he gets the scar just disappears completely, and I think the CGI that's pretty decent.
When Pops turns up unannounced with a teddy bear and just starts shooting him, and they think obviously what you killing John for is when he gets up in that one stop motion, which happens quite a lot after that.
Yeah,
brilliant. And the scar just disappears.
Yeah, I love the bit with because it's the only way you see. This is why they shouldn't have spoiled it. This would have been mint in the cinema. When you sat there and it's the blood and it looks like he's dead, and you'd have been thinking, if they hadn't have told you, you'd be thinking, oh my god, like Pops is like Kyle was right. He's got these inbuilt programs we didn't even know about. Oh my god. Well, you're probably not that exclusive, you know what I mean? And then and then that bit where there's the blood, he's in a pool of blood, you think, well, he's dead. Oh my god, like what's going to happen? And then the blood just ripples and does that that noise, a noise I like, I don't know, like that reverb noise. Man. And it's like, whoa, like that would have been, it's still good to watch, but you think if you'd have had the surprise behind it, that would, and then obviously that's just before he does the move back to his feet where he's like, oh, that hurt.
The noise is brilliant, mate. I know the noise. Do you know what it's like? It's the exact same noise in the Transformers when they're communicating to one another.
Yeah.
It's
great. It's just that. Yeah, and it's like, whoa, like what's just happened? It should have been like, well, bloody trailers, but yeah, it's a good scene, and I liked another part of the film. There's a lot of good ideas. I don't know if it.
What about Pop's aging? His skin, his hair, being an aging. I thought that was pretty plausible.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, because he says, you know, it takes my skin years to regrow. and the idea was it was real flesh so that it would age. The only thing, because this doesn't get brought up much, I'm not sure why. Maybe Chat Tsunami brought it up, and if they did, I apologize. I'll go back and listen to it. I have been meaning to catch up on those. In the first one, it's like flesh is rotting, because the guy's like, "God damn, boy, what?
Fuck
like,
you, asshole."
Yeah, it's like, yeah, you got a dead cat in there or what? That whole great scene with a cigar in his mouth. Yeah, exactly. I can't do an Annie impression. I'd love to be able to, but I can't.
It's not so hard. You just have to be angry.
It's not bad. No, I can't step off my own accent to do any others. Well, so yeah,
I can't do a Terminator man, obviously, because he's emotionless, and that's the thing. I watched an interview with him. Can't remember who it was with, and he was talking about getting the part of the Terminator, and it got to Terminator 3, 4, and there were thoughts of him not being in it. And he says, that's fine. He says, but whoever you get to do it, you've got to train them to act like a machine. And John Cameron was like, what do you mean? He says, you have to be emotionless. You have to be like the fighting. Do you know what I mean? As you say, it's two objects of relatively equal force. Nothing's in their way. They're just, nothing hurts them. That's just, do you know, it's great, man. Just I love. Can't see anybody else doing army.
See, I don't mind, like I think if there's one criticism I can levy or can throw at the Terminator series, it's the fact that they've never really let him go. Like I know they said, he's meant to be on the production line, but you go back to Terminator 1 where his mate, and I can't remember his bodybuilder, I think he was also a Mr. Universe or a bodybuilder friend of his. Was it
the original Hulk?
Luther? Yeah. Is that what it was in the first
television series, Luther? Because he said he had a cameo in the first Hulk. And he's been in.
Is that the scene where he appears and he throws the cloak off? That's what I was thinking of in Terminator 1. I'm not sure. I thought it was somebody. I was just meaning.
Right. No,
I think it was one of it. I think it was one of his friends. One of Arnie's friends who did it. I think he was a bodybuilder. I think you. Oh, probably got it wrong. I'm sure he was Swedish or something like that.
All right, no.
Anyway, he played the Terminator. You know that scene where the dogs are barking. It's when Carl Reese gets through the tunnel. That would, but Arnie said get him because he is going to be you need like a Hulk of a man because these are machines. They're not that they're big. The speaking of body types, I think the biggest criticism I'd wage at Jai Courtney in this is his body type is wrong. If you've, mind you, it's not really his fault, but if you've survived living through that
with rations,
you're not going to look like you've just stepped out the gym. Which, to be fair to him, Michael Bay in the first one, I know it was a different rating because I think with the scars they kind of had to kind of calm it down a bit.
Michael Biehn was excellent, great. Kyle Reese, also great in Aliens as well, but.
I liked him in The Rock as well. He was good in The Rock.
Aye,
yeah.
Great.
You will stand down. I will not stand down. Him and Ed Harris going at it it's magical stuff.
But
he's
that
not been in
Star
enough
Wars cliche. He didn't have the higher ground. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's not been in enough Michael Biehn for me. It's a shame.
Aye.
But I just one of those people like a Matthew Modine, or a Dennis Quaid. Where they just disappear every now and again. But hey, it's up to them, I suppose.
But in the terms of the Terminator universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where's it rated for you? What's your top three?
Top three. Terminator 2. Terminator. Every time. I'd say Terminator 2, Terminator 1. Ooh. 2, 1. 3, or maybe Salvation. I'll wait till I do my rewatch, but as it stands now, I'd say 2, 1, and then 3. Right. Then I'll go Genisys, and then I'll go Dark Fate because of Dark Fate. It was indeed.
Dark Fate's not even getting on my list, mate.
Oh, you've not seen it yet?
No, I've seen it. It's not getting on my list. I refuse to put it on my list.
Yeah, fine. No, it's not on my list.
Off the reservation with message. That it just
it's just a mess. It was you sound like a YouTuber listening, but it's just it's just such a straight. It's just. It's so. Do you know what? Do you know what the biggest crime of that film is? And it's the biggest crime you can levy at any film. It's so forgettable. It's not only ridiculous and shit, and the acting's terrible. It's forgettable. I couldn't,
that, mate. I couldn't have said that better.
Couldn't tell you apart from, I tell you, the only bit I'll give it credit for, and I've already mentioned it. The only bit I'll give it credit for, it's not even the bit at the beginning that everyone gets all whingy about, right? It's that scene at the beginning where it opens and the sea's coming in. We stopped and the skull appears in the sand, and I think, and then you see like, oh my God, all over the place. There's just bodies, because we always see skeletons, but there's rib cages and everything. And I'm like, oh my God. It starts off, it tricks you with the whole Sarah Connor. They blow apart like leaves. And then you have that like little skull bit, and you think, oh my God, this could actually be, oh my God, could this be good? I don't think, no. Anybody who hasn't seen it, very rarely do I say to people, that film is not worth your time. Dark Fate is not, because some people say, oh, come on, especially Mike, come on, Sean, like, how can you say that? How can you say that? Like, you've got to give a movie a chance. You can't just write it off without seeing it. No, you can. Don't watch Dark Fate. Go and cook your missus or your mister, whoever you're with. Go cook them a nice breakfast, or take, I don't know, 2 hours to go to Tesco and buy them some flowers and bake them a cake. Because that's a better use of your time. You get a better result out of it than if you watch Dark Fate. So that's me done off my. It's terrible. It's so bad. You know when you get told it's bad.
See the word you use, forgettable. I watched Dark Fate the first day it came out, and I can only remember the opening scene. I don't remember the plot. I don't remember the storyline. I vaguely remember fucking Linda Hamilton's haircut. That's about it, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was just so like, yeah.
That's Christopher.
All right, how we doing, gents?
55 minutes late. He's in for the back shift.
A wizard is never late.
This is Sean. We've just been waxing lyrical about Genisys. Well, we have been waxing lyrical about Genisys in no particular order, mate. I love it, right? Sean is he loves it and all.
I enjoyed it.
What do you think it?
It is absolutely shite.
I knew you were going to say it.
It is. You go to watch the Terminator movies to see the Terminator, John Connor, and all this, and then he's killed right at the start.
No, that's Dark Fate you're thinking of, isn't it? Are you thinking of Dark Fate? Or are you thinking of?
Oh, this as well, because it's
right.
Matt Smith gets him.
He's upgraded.
Oh yeah. Sorry, yeah.
Shite jobby. It's the same thing. But
I don't know. I think there's saving graces in it. The thing with the Terminator series, though, you don't know if the last film's any good or if it's just saved by how shit the newest one is. I don't know. It happens sometimes. I've heard that argument from quite a few of my friends. Like, oh, come on, Sean. Like, you're only thinking like Terminator 3 and Salvation are all right because of what we've got after it. So I kind of get what you mean.
But a disadvantage with you and all, but because you've just come in, you've just missed fucking 55 minutes of my argument for what's good about it.
But you usually talk a lot of shit anyway.
Just having time in a day, you fucking doughball. But no, listen, but it's not like it, but the story's good. The twists are excellent. The pacing of the film is fucking magic. The action's great and the CGI is flawless.
It's just because it totally rewrites what actually made this franchise successful.
What did it rewrite about it?
Well, the first Kyle Reese comes back and it's to save Sarah Connor and all that, but she already knows all this. So the first movie is just totally scrubbed, practically.
That's what it's all about.
But that's shite.
Invented a new timeline because of what happened to John when Kyle was going through the portal.
Nah, that's just shite.
So it's a different. It didn't try to be Terminator 1. It didn't try to be Terminator 2. Do you know what I mean? It became its own thing with also taking kind of the best parts of their films on board. Do you know what I mean?
Nah.
I'm not going to tell you right. Again, it's your own opinion, mate.
Can you watch the film like on its own merit, or does like I mean, I know what to be
Obviously
fair,
not.
No, I don't mean that as a criticism because I'm exactly the same with the Bond films. I don't think I can watch any of those on merit, to be fair, without thinking of the previous ones. But
Oh, there's your pal then. Fucking hates him and all.
I don't hate them. I hate the last fucking 3 of them. I think they're fucking diabolical. And the fact everyone talks about how
Another good podcast.
Skyfall and Spectre is and fucking No Time to Die. Fucking Time to Die. It's shit. Sorry. Sorry. I've been, you know what? I've barely sworn in the last bit, Chris. Chris has come on with the negativity, and I'm like, I've done that Northern England thing of, oh, there's negativity. I must jump on board with it quick.
Where the people that swear a lot are more honest.
True. Fucking true.
Nah, that's like I say, it's Terminator. You go to see Terminator for like the story, let's see the timeline that kicked this off, sort of stuff, and it just seems like a cheap rip-off.
Yeah, I see. I was on about this earlier that this is what people kind of said. It's a mishmash of the first two, or that it's like a weird, twisty remake of the first one. Yeah, I kind of get that. But then at the same time, what else are they going to do? Like, genuinely, when you think about them all, you think, what have they done? They've done the first one. They've done a second one, which really should have been the end. Let's be honest. For whatever you think of the rest of them, the second one should have finished it. The third one comes along, and it's a pretty decent chase movie. If you watch it back, I think it's aged really well. It's got better, but it was very kind of, when you put it next to the second one, with all its depth and meaning and everything, the third one it pales in comparison. You get the fourth one that tries something different, but to put Christian Bale in it, shouting at light engineers, it wasn't good. He wasn't good. Take him out of it, and the whole Sam Worthington bit, that was decent, but the rest of it, yeah. But
he fucking hates Sam Worthington as well. I don't mind that Sam Worthington.
I mean, he was good in that. I don't think I've seen. I mean, God, he did them of the Titans films, and then he did Avatar, which he's all right in, but it's nothing.
He's fucking.
What do you call it, Chris? Blue Cowboys and Indians.
Oh no, it's a cheap rip-off of Dances with Wolves. That's what it is.
Or Apocalypto. One or two.
Oh, Apocalypto's mint. How have I not done that yet?
Do you know what I hate about Terminator 3, right? You're no wrong in your analysis. It's a good chase film, and there's good action, and the bird's quite hot as well. But Nick Stahl as John Connor fucking irks me. He's just all the way through the film. See people that are successful at fucking being under the radar.
Yeah.
They don't act like they should be under the radar. They don't walk about like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
The future. It's the beginning bit. There's a few lines that the future haunts me, and then there's what's the other bit? The worst line in it that's fucking hilarious. What is it he says? Oh my God, he says something that it makes you cringe. Oh, fucking I had it then. It'll come back to me. He says something, and it's just like, what are you?
Ugly looking bastard. I can't even show you because my background. I can't even know.
Aye. That's just.
Oh no, that's it. Sorry, I've got it, Chris. Sorry to interrupt. I've got it because my brain will forget it. It's the bit where, to be fair, it's one of the good bits in it where I can't remember the character. Catherine Brewster shoots Claire Danes. She shoots the little HK down, right?
I don't know.
And then then John goes. She's like, what? He's like, you reminded me of my mother. I'm like, oh, that'll get her into bed, mate. Well done. That if there's one way to chat up a last, that's it. Tell her she's like a man. Yeah, nice one. It's and what I mean, the whole honey.
You remind me of my mother
hand.
when she was dying of cancer. Get your knickers off.
That's a fucking dark sentence right there.
We've been known. That's why I've got a disclaimer before our fucking podcast. Do you know what I mean?
I know. Can you copy and paste it to me? I might have to put it on.
This has been quite tame in comparison.
No, yeah. I know you've got to guess. You got to pull it back, haven't you? No, I don't know. Yeah, it's a strange one. The third one, isn't it? It's I think if you the problem is with the Terminator films, like after the second one, they really shouldn't have made any more. But it's Hollywood, and they want the money, and they've just like we want. I think. Where else would they have gone with this film was what I was saying about half an hour ago to Chris, is what else would they have done? Because I think I agree with you about this film, but about the next one, I think they could be shit on everything with Dark Fate. That was just horrific. But I could see why some people would think this was similar to that, because actually, now I think about it, there's a lot of comparisons. John Connor technically dies at the beginning. and it's just the same chase, but it's 2017 or it's 2020, whatever it is. So in Mexico instead of America. So
that's Dark Fate's fault. That's no Genisys' fault.
No, I know,
He's
but
gone like
I see what I mean.
No,
Though.
it's the exact same.
See, this film isn't a flop either.
Well, fuck, it
140
should have been.
million budget, and it made 440 back.
But that's the thing. That's what keeps bringing people back. That's why they'll never let this end. What they should have done is, let's see with this Genisys movie, it practically wipes out the other Terminator movies that came before it. Because what was the point in Sarah Connor even being in the movie? Because her sole purpose was to give birth to John Connor, who would save the planet for the Terminators and stuff. And
But that part never changed.
But
it's changed really because
Just changed
the Terminators won.
It just changed the date. That's all it changed.
But but the savior John Connor is now a Terminator.
Good, I don't like him anyway, he's a bastard.
No, but that's what I'm talking about. So the whole Terminator 1, Terminator 2, Terminator 3, Terminator Salvation is just done because the savior was defeated. That's what my gripe about it is. The effects and all that are fine. The casting and that is good. But it's like, what's the word? Law. It just takes away from the law.
Lure.
Yeah.
Aye.
The law. Yeah, I know what it means.
Aye.
I love how we've all got different ways of saying it. But yeah. No, yeah.
What's wrong with trying to change the narrative in that sense, making the saviour out to be no so?
Because
it wasn't like in this that he just turned bad. He got infiltrated. Do you know what I mean?
Aye. Hence, the whole point of the first Terminator movie was Sarah Connor being protected so John Connor could be born. The second movie was about protecting John Connor so he could lead the resistance and win the war. The third one shows you how he becomes John Connor and survives Judgment Day and stuff.
Whingy John Connor.
Well, also,
and then
make the point of saving Sarah as a young girl in 1973.
But that's just pish.
I knew he was going to say something like that.
It's just pish. But then
it's 1973 sunglasses.
Do you know what though? Do you know what though? Craig, I think I'm not agreeing with Chris, but because I'm listening to you argue what I would argue. When you try and argue it, you think, actually, this sounds really shit when I try and argue it. That's no fault of yours. Wouldn't be a fault of mine, but like I know how to charm people when they come on as guests. Your opinion's is shit. No. All I'm saying is that when you try and argue it, it does sound quite shit. Do you know, when you try and I think it's one of those films you just turn your brain off a bit. Don't get too worried about it and just enjoy it. But
you can't argue people into agreeing with you anyway. That's just fucking useless. Right. It's just sometimes you go over exuberant and you're like, can you not see how good that wee bit is there and that bit there and tie it in? As I say, I think a lot of people just make their mind up about stuff before they've even seen it.
It doesn't stop me.
I don't think Chris is guilty of that.
No, it doesn't stop me wanting to watch it with Chris. I'd still have a good laugh watching this with somebody who was like, this is terrible.
Mate, he's probably got it on fucking Blu-ray.
I think I do.
I have as well, yeah.
But that was a... I
had the other phone, I had to get that.
That was a Trojan horse. That was a Trojan horse.
So was Genisys.
But that's what I've talked about. It's just the whole... What I say is the casting was good, the action is good, the effects are good, but then it just takes away the whole point of the other movies. You know what I mean? It's like...
And like Sean says, by the time they've got to the fifth installment of this franchise, they had to do something.
Aye. That's what I mean. It's like...
They could have done a lot worse, but
they did. And the next film,
they did.
See, I think this film,
come on, bitches,
it changes the narrative. It changes the way the narrative goes, but it doesn't change the overall narrative. John Connor's still the hero until he gets changed later, years later. You know, Sarah still ends up with Kyle. Arnie's still up. The T-800's still around as the savior.
Have you mated yet?
Yeah. I'm old, not obsolete. I'd quite like those bits of it, but Yeah, I don't know. There was, I mean, to be fair, I would have liked to have seen. I don't know why she's too old now. I mean, no offense to her, she still looks great, but I'd love to have seen Lena Headey do this because I thought she was great in the Sarah Connor Chronicles. I think they were all right. It was all right.
I like the Sarah Connor Chronicles.
It was decent, but
I can't even see it. I liked it. I thought it was good. It get axed pretty quickly, but then after a couple of seasons.
Yeah, too. Yeah. But it had some good ideas in there, and I think it. Where else would you go? The only thing I'd argue that they need, not that they need, but they're going to do it at some point. It's Cameron's now, isn't it? What they need to do is make a Salvation, but make it like the majority of people want it. Make it with the lasers and that. But then again, how are you going to sustain that across an entire film? It's all right having, little bits of scenes here and then about how awful the future is, but how are you? Well, they probably shouldn't, but they will. It's Hollywood.
Well, James Cameron isn't going to make another one. They shouldn't make another one.
He won't. He's too busy making Avatar. He's on what, Avatar 4 or something?
He did say that. He says he's booked until his retirement. So it would need to be a one hell of a fucking.
If he makes it to retirement, I'll be impressed because he's got loads to do. I think he's talking about.
Never bet against JC. You know what I mean?
No, I've already said this. Yeah,
I'm in no way, shape, or form excited about this new Avatar, but I know it's going to be $1 billion film. You know what I mean?
Oh, well, it'll look really nice, but as I said about Avatar, and
you sounded like my auntie there. Oh, it looks really nice. That
no. Oh, but yeah. Oh, but he's I can't.
Oh, it's lovely. The wee blue man there, the wee blue man, and his wee wains. Oh.
Yeah. No, I think it'll look lovely, but there's nothing behind the eyes. It's that kind of thing, isn't it? There's just nothing. They're just like, I don't know. A lot of people seem to have appeared who really love them, but where's it been? No one's really cared about that for 13 years. No one's been sat there going, oh my God, when's the next Avatar? Maybe a few people haven't. I'm not having to go at them. If that's your bag, Christ, I've got a massive Titanic poster behind my head, so I can't talk. All I mean is, where's Titanic 2? All of us terrible. All I mean is, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I don't know. It's
I love Titanic, man. Draw me like.
Oh my God, no, they made it. They made a Titanic 2, didn't they? With the fella from X-Men in it. What's his name? Howard somebody. The one who gets turned into a fish, plays the senator. Is it the third one?
They recognise. I remember I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, Bryce something. I don't know.
Senator Bob Kelly, I think his name is. And
that's the one,
yeah.
Aye. Yeah, they made this awful Asylum Titanic 2 film. Anyway, sorry. Back to the review.
There you go. See,
I'm yet to review that one.
Web.
But see what we were saying. Where should they have went with the Terminator franchise? Kick on from Salvation.
Yeah.
There's how many missions must there have been in this war?
That's a good.
That changed the fate. Know what I mean? You could.
Some of the games had some pretty good fucking ideas.
The games did.
That's really what I'm talking about. See that? Because I liked Terminator Salvation, right? Because when I was seeing the Terminator films, you're always being told about this massive war.
Yeah.
And you never seen it.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then you eventually do get to see it.
Yeah.
And then it's very fleeting.
Yeah. I loved some of the I loved seeing the designs of the Terminators, because I don't care what anyone says, that the Terminator, the idea of a Terminator and the way they look, and hats off to Stan Winston. They look unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. I've got
see the first one they come across when he wakes up and he's in derelict fucking land and he just shouts because he thinks it's another person.
Oh yeah.
The Terminator turns around and it's just dripping with raggedy clays and all that. It's brilliant, man.
That's it.
You're right, Chris. I think Salvation was good. Me and Sean have already said. Cool. I've already said there's bits in there that hadn't any been in there, right? See John and Catherine, you could have done without them.
Salvation. Oh God,
the robots in the water, they fucking things. No,
I didn't mind it so much. It's a bit weird, but
What were they in the water to infiltrate anyway?
I don't know. Well,
let's get all the fucking swimmers.
What was the point with that's one way to stop the human race, get the swimmers. Well, what was the point with John Connor, that? The worst bit of that is the line where he's just like, if we don't do this, they are dead. They're all dead. It's like, John Connor, take a fucking cough sweep. Calm down. It's just too much. He's like, you watch that film.
Pack of tunes. See the bit.
I'm not a Geordie.
He gets so self-magnanimous, John Connor, in that film, where he goes, you're here to get me because I'm the savior and I'm the fucking, you're like, fucking back off,
Yeah.
mate. You know what I mean?
Well, they should have lent into that more, because I remember reading a lot about the publicity before the film came out, and the argument was going to be, because I think Michael Ironside's in it, who I think is a decent actor as well. They just didn't have him in it enough. Where the idea was that Connor was going to be this guy saying, look, like with a lot of quite a few followers, but he was going to be a guy saying, look, I know how to beat these things. And the whole thing was going to be, fuck off, get back in line. Essentially, but they don't carry through with it. I don't know whether, like we were talking about earlier, Craig, I don't know whether they got Christian Bale late, and after the Dark Knight they thought, well, we'll have you. Yeah, that's a good bit of star power. Really, they could have done with getting somebody. I know you don't like him, Chris, but they could have done with getting somebody like Worthington, who was completely unknown at that point, or at least to me he was. It just somebody who was unknown and could have come in and done a decent job, or just have John Connor out of it. Like we said, take them out of it. They're not important. But if they were going to lean into that, lean into it. But they get stuck between, like, the whole the story of Marcus, and they get, so it's like, why don't you stick with one or the other? Don't. It's a bit clunky.
Helen Bonham Carter, I know, I hate her.
Well, see, apparently that was supposed to be a trilogy.
Oh, it was. Oh no, it was. Do you remember the ending where they go off in the helicopter and he's like, "The battle has been won."
Is that true? I
thought
that was just a kind of fable.
No. The end, when you watch it back, when you watch Terminator Salvation back, the ending is like part 2 coming soon. It's awful. It's the ending's really like they fly off in the helicopter and you hear John Connor voiceover, and I'm sure it's something like this. It's something like, this battle may be won, but the war is not over. Like the future, and it's like, oh, we know what that is. It's it's not good.
And that's what I'm talking about. That's where I think it could have went. You know what I mean? And then you could perhaps bring in like Genisys, because you could kind of see like if Skynet was losing the war, it was creating another plan. You know what I mean? Because it knows. Maybe I showed something like John Connor confronting Skynet, that he knows their plan for domination. And then that puts them into action. Oh, we need to start something else here.
Yeah. You know where I think they went a bit wrong with the films, especially probably even after the second one? No, I'll tell a lie. Actually, the third one. After the third one, they lost the ability. It was always about being against Skynet. Like, oh, we've got to stop Skynet. Because the first 3 really were about, I know they try and stop Skynet at the end. Great ending. But if anything about the film, it was a good ending with 3. They try and like stop Skynet. No, the first 3 were about stopping Arnie's there. It's stopping the other one because they're coming to kill you. They'll lose that a little bit. They lose it completely in the later ones, where it's just like this Genisys should have been about, protecting Sarah Connor, and but it doesn't. I was saying earlier, you missed Chris, but I was saying what they could have done. They have all these nice little bits in it that are nice little moments, but they're, like Craig said, and it's the right word, they're really fleeting. And it's like, well, why didn't you they wouldn't have allowed it, but slow the film down and have a bit more of a personal like look at it. But they just mind you, if they'd done that, everybody would have been like, oh, it's a poor man's Terminator 2. So you can't really win, can you? But
it's always going to be compared against T2. You know what I mean? But it's just,
they all have.
Aye. But it's just, like I says, what I didn't like about it is it just totally wiped out the first, because it's like, why do you then care about like Kyle Reese and stuff? And then is it no Kyle Reese, his younger self, they end up talking to at the end?
Yeah, he tells him, because he tells himself. Yeah.
Aye. So
Genisys
then
has Skynet.
So then it becomes Kyle Reese's story. Know what I mean?
See, I don't think you're wrong in what you're saying. I really don't. I can see where you're coming from. It's just amazing you've seen it that way, as kind of poo-pooing 1 and 2, and I've seen it as still integrating 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's mental. It's just different. Subjective. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because if it had killed them off, like, because if it had done what Dark Fate did, which was essentially say, you know what, all that was you watched before with John Connor, yeah, he's dead. So that was really poo-poo in Terminator 2. Like, oh, this kid and the man that you've been really rooting for, and they got a Terminator and he became a human, then he melted. Oh yeah, he's dead. And who else? Who are we going to get? Oh, we're going to get a Terminator woman. I don't know. And we're going to get Sarah.
Fembot.
I need to be careful here. We've got Sarah Connor, who's older and bitter, understandably, and then we've got an older Terminator who we've got an older Terminator who is like Carl, who sells drapes, and you're like, we do not have a physical relationship, and you're like, what's it's just so, anyway. But yeah, I don't know, I lost my point.
One funny thing was when they travel to all to 2017 and eventually gets them. So, what have you been doing with your time? Apart from stockpiling fucking the world's armory, he goes, I got a job.
Until I got laid off.
To get laid off, man. Fucking brilliant.
See, what could have worked with Genisys, how they end up speaking to Kyle Reese at the end. What they could have done was kill off the Sarah Connor character, right? And that means John Connor was never born. And then that whole point of telling Kyle Reese is he then carries the flag. Know what I mean? But it's
his son's gonna
aye.
Like that. What, you don't think that would have pissed people off? I'd have liked it, but that would have royally pissed people off.
I like that.
But I do like the idea though. I'll why not? I think sometimes they get stuck to convention, the films as well. Like, we've got to have John Connor, we've got to have Arnie, even if in Salvation they could have just taken that scene out and had it been a faceless T-800.
You're always going to be fighting that battle, but in any franchise, we're seeing it now with Star Wars. Andor is, for me, one of the best Star Wars things I've seen since Empire Strikes Back, because it's grown up Star Wars. But I've got people that Chris, and fandom, there's no lasers, there's no fucking X-Wings, where's Darth Vader, we've not seen Palpatine. Fuck off. This is an espionage, real-world fucking thrilling series. Do you know what I mean? In a Star Wars universe.
So see, I've always been a Star Trek kid, the early stuff. Well. I've only ever seen I saw Rogue. I'll be quick, I promise. I saw Rogue One first, and people said you were insane. And I've seen the first Star Wars, and I've seen The Empire Strikes Back, and that's it. I haven't seen any more. I plan to. Don't get me wrong, but it's a gap that.
You might be all right there. Just leave it there.
My friend said to me, who loves Star Wars, he absolutely worships it and hates new stuff. He said to me, "Watch the third one, and then that's it. Just stop. You've seen Rogue One, don't worry about it. But watch that third one, and then just
Jedi.
Stop. And then just stop. Yeah, just stop." And I think I probably will, to be fair.
That's sound advice, because I pretend the new ones don't exist.
Yeah, it's a bit like me. It's a bit like me with Doctor Who and what's happened to that now.
But never get into Doctor Who at all, man.
No, I only got into it.
Frightened me as a child.
Yeah.
Did? Because it was done in the BBC and BBC Two, the budget was that shit. Things looked real. And I was like, oh, yeah. It was on a Sunday night, and that's when you're meant to not want to go for your bath. You know what I mean? I was like, I want to go for my bath. I'm watching that.
No, but Genisys, they could have took it different routes, but what they really ended up doing was mashing the first two together.
I've got a question. Sorry.
Go on, you go.
Oh no, I've got a question, because if I don't ask it now, I'll be annoyed at myself. Right, have we ever in this film? There's a scene, where the T-1000 drops the metal into the T-800's head, and it gets up and it goes after Kyle Reese. It tries to punch him, and it punches through a pillar. And my question is this, because it occurred to me, I don't know why this time I've watched it. Have we ever seen a Terminator punch somebody or attempt to punch somebody, apart from, it wasn't Bill Paxton, wasn't it? It was the one next to him. Apart from the punks in the first one, who should have had the face paint in this one, but I've already said that, Chris. It just annoys me. Apart from that, because that's another criticism they get.
They just do a bit of throwing, didn't they?
Why don't the Terminators just like punch through? Although in Salvation it does like spear John Connor, doesn't it? But apart from that, have we ever seen that punch? Have we ever seen them? Because it literally, it's an actual punch. And it looks class, to be fair. It looks really good. Because he like flies forward, doesn't he? And it's like, oh, this Terminator is not messing about. I don't think we've ever seen one before. But
it's definitely not.
They do a bit of throwing. They just grab you and throw you.
Yeah,
that's the first punch that's missed.
Why snap a neck when you throw him?
It is a thing that they don't show you, but it's like, I thought with how time has moved on, they could have showed you how the Terminator is a proper killing machine. Let's see how they done in Terminator 1, where it clears out the whole police station. There's never one point in this. It just goes, well, none of you matter anyway, and just start going crazy.
Do you know? I think why the reason for that might be, it's only my kind of thought on it, is that the T-800, even though it's like revolutionary in the midpoint of the war towards the end, after the first one, it's like obsolete, isn't it? Really, you got the T-1000, then you got the TX, then you got whatever the hell Marcus and what's his John Connor is in this, whatever. In the first one, he's much more of like a blunt object. He's not very sophisticated. So the T-800 goes, gets the phone book, Sarah Connor, yes, and bang, she's gone. And all
that's
that.
cracking about the phone book because you get fucking nothing to plug into. And
of course,
yeah.
And that's all really clever. But then with the police station, he knows where she is, and it can't do what the T-1000 does. It can't blend in properly like the T-1000 can, or the TX. So it has to be much more of a blunt weapon and goes in there and just thinks, right, I'm going to kill you all. But I do agree. My argument and I know I've only seen a few of them, but it's the same argument I have for Star Wars. Why is Darth Vader always getting beaten? Isn't he meant to be the best? Like, it's that kind of point of, well, why is he always like? But I would love to see a scene like that. But then, I mean, how would you make it better? I don't know. I think, I think it would be good to see, because I think Terminators are frightening. Like, they're not going to stop. I mean, they say it in this film, but it's a bit clunky. Like, I will never eat. Oh god, that accent was a bit weird. I'll never eat. I'll never sleep, and I'll never stop.
You're right, Chris. It's untapped. That could have been utilised.
It's definitely a chance to show how brutal it could be. See,
you're
Punisher.
right, mate.
See, like the Punisher scene and the Daredevil series, how brutal he can be. Yeah. Imagine you had a scene like that, and the Terminator is just cutting people down.
To be fair,
you know what I mean,
there's one tiny scene, and I know I've said I hate the film, and I do. There's one tiny scene, and it's not a Terminator, it's a Rev. There's a tiny scene in Dark Fate. You know where he walks into the is it like the holding facility for illegal immigrants or aliens, or whatever they call it?
I don't eradicated the movie, mate. I don't know.
Right, it's that bit where he walks in and it's like, oh, my whole body's a weapon, but he walks through the metal detector and it goes off, and then all these other immigration cop, border patrol, whatever they are, jump on him, and just spikes start coming out of everywhere, and he just absolutely, because it was an R rating, wasn't it, that film, like an 18, and he just absolutely rips people to pieces, and there's like no one left. I mean, it's a piss poor comparison. It's nowhere near the cop one, but that's probably the closest off the top of my head I can think of. I don't think it's happened. Oh, mind you, she kind of does it, doesn't she? The TX in Terminator 3, but she doesn't kill a lot of people, but she just walks in and she just guns down Robert Brewster, doesn't she? Like, she just stands there and point blank takes him out, and it's like, yeah, not bad.
Fucking wet wipe him at him, wasn't he?
Get to Crystal Peak. It's your only chance.
It just see with Genisys, like the John Connor Terminator. There's through the whole film as well. I don't feel like there's a part where you fear him. See, like the first Terminator movie, this guy's always coming after you. See with Genisys, it's just always a slow walk and nothing's taken seriously. If you know what I mean, it's like it gets beat a couple of times. You know what I mean? Whereas you look at Terminator 2 and the Liquid Terminator, it just seems to be relentless all the time. You know what I mean?
Scene with the parents, we've never had one of those either. You know, the whole bit like, what's up with the fucking dog? And you just see that bit, and it like pans out.
With Wolfie? I can hear him barking.
Yeah.
Wolfie's fine, honey. Wolfie's fine.
Your foster parents are dead. Just puts them on now.
Suck it up, you little bitch. Your foster parents are dead. Oh.
It's one of those things. That's what I mean. Like, just like two Scottish guys and a freaking Northern England guy talking about. I have to put the Northern in. I can't help it. Don't want to be associated with it. The whole thing is like we're just three people talking about throwing shit around about the Terminator films. But we've come up with a few ideas there that they've never tried, and they really fucking should. Like people are listening, going, "Yeah, that's a good idea." I've listened to a couple of your ideas and thought, "Yeah, they're pretty good."
Look how long it took them with Predator. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I really like Predators. I didn't mind Predator 2, but I really like Predators. You know the one with Adrian Brody in it? I thought that was all right. But I haven't watched that in a long time, though. It might fall down.
Killer actor you like, Chris, in it?
Adrian Brody is not my cup of tea.
Bloody hell, can I go 3 for 3, anyone? Can I go 3 for 3?
Oh, I'm sure you'll get close.
What
James Corden. No, I'm done.
Oh.
Yes, 3 for 3. Oh, that was. I don't feel good about that. That's just cheesy chickens. It's
don't feel
low
good
hanging
about
fruit. Low hanging fruit.
that.
Oh God, yeah.
It just reminds me of piles. Low hanging fruit. Piles. Oh dear. Right. I'm going to wrap it up, boys, because I've got a dog to take out and dinner to get. Sean, yeah or nay? Would you get out of 10?
7, 7.5 maybe at a push.
Admirable, sir. Christopher?
A 6.
It's hard enough. That's not bad. I thought it was going to be
Better than
like 4.
expected for you.
If I was into the bracket that it's watchable and it's no terrible.
Yeah.
See, if it's 5, it is genuinely a case of,
Take it and leave it.
oh, I couldn't watch that.
I'm going an 8, man. I think it's great. I do.
Sick.
It's one of the films
We've
I can
almost
sit
done
and-
a Steps song now, haven't we? If someone scored 5, we could have had it.
You've just given away your fucking CD collection there, haven't you?
Hey, there's nothing wrong with having Steps Gold on CD.
Well, I might see Steps, so I'm in your corner.
Oh, for
I've
fuck's sake.
just seen Robbie about 3 days ago, mate. So
I've seen him twice, back when he was good.
he looks old now. Like he looks old. Yeah.
I'd still love to know his chip and pin number right enough. That'd be fucking quite handy.
Wouldn't it just?
But boys, I need to go. It's been a pleasure, man. Sean, it was
Yeah.
good to meet you.
Yeah, you too.
Yes, mate. Better
Chris,
late
it was
than never,
nice of you
lads.
to turn up, Nat. No, honestly, but that's shocking amount of time you have to wait for a bus, but that's fucking ridiculous.
That's
At
that's
least
why.
oh no, I'm gonna say that.
Aye, that's why everybody should own their own car, and we'll just pollute the earth because the public transport is horrible.
Mate, I want an electric car, but I can't afford one. So, fuck yous.
Well, it's about how you got to charge it with this fucking energy increase. So
Yeah.
I know, rig the meter in the house. Fucking plug your car into it.
well, lads,
Aye.
I
We
hope
can
you
get our
enjoyed
dinners.
Genesis.
I know, that was a great review. I enjoyed it. Sean, thanks very much, mate.
No,
Hope to do it
that's
again in the
fine.
future.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll all get a better time together and fucking we can all turn up and do something. Maybe you're Chris like, all right?
Well,
Yes.
I was the one that objected to this movie. You two actually liked it, aye?
Aye.
It's going to be a good review to listen back to. It's really positive for almost now, and then just.
Aye. Audio only. Audio only as well. It's not going on the video, so it should be out the next hour and a half. All right.
Bloody hell, that's quick. Jesus, I thought I had a quick turnaround.
No problem. I'll
Right,
see you
guys.
later, Trips.
See you later, guys.
Have a good one, lads.
And action!
You disgust me. Grow up.